Can my good deeds outweigh my bad? You know, it's not at all unusual when people are asked to consider whether or not they'll make it into heaven when they die. For them to take that position, well, yes, I think I will. I recognize that I have done wrong, but my good deeds outweigh my bad, and therefore I'm going to make it. Well, I want to suggest to you that this response is wrong on two counts. The first is that, no, our good deeds don't outweigh our bad deeds. And in fact, it's often the case that our bad deeds cannot even be dealt with. It can't be covered. You know, I have harmed people that I love. And no matter what I do, I can't go back in time and undo what I did. I've harmed people I don't love. I still can't go back in time and undo what I did. If I do well by somebody, how in the world would that undo the bad that I did to somebody else? Or even if I do well by somebody that I already did bad to, how does that cover it? Good deeds are things that we owe, that we have an obligation to do. Bad deeds, it's like, good deeds are zeros and bad deeds are negatives, and you can't add up negatives and zeros and ever end up at a positive. But there's another reason, maybe even more important reason, why it is not the case that our good deeds can outweigh our bad, and that's simply this: we have no good deeds. We just don't. Now, I'm not disputing the fact that there are people who do things in a sacrificial sense, and that may be you, that may be me. I love my wife, I love my children, I make sacrifices for them. First responders can be quite heroic, soldiers on the battlefield. I'm not disputing that those are good things. What I'm saying is they're not ultimately good. They're not good because they're tainted with the person doing them. In fact, let's just cut to the chase. The reality is that whether we end up in heaven or hell has precious little to do with what we do, and everything to do with what we are. We are sinners. We are people who disobey the living God. We are people who are selfish. We are people who are self-interested. We are people who don't give God the glory that He is due. You know, even inside the church, sometimes there are people who are foolish enough to think that they don't sin, or that they can go days without sin. If you ever meet someone like that, ask them this question: do you really believe that you love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, even for a moment? Do you really believe that you love your neighbor as yourself for a moment? Friends, to suggest that our good deeds can outweigh our bad and we can go into heaven is like suggesting that we fall into a vat of ink and we have a gray piece of paper and we think we can clean ourselves off with the gray piece of paper. No. That's our situation. We're sinners. And what we need, more than being made into non-sinners, more than trying harder, what we need is grace and forgiveness. What we need is not to earn our way out of receiving a just punishment for our sins, but we need a just man to take the just punishment for our sins. What we need is Jesus. If you stand before the throne of God and God asks you, why should I let you into my kingdom? And if you say to Him, well, if you check your records, you'll see that my good deeds outweighed my bad. You will have demonstrated not that you should be allowed into heaven, but that you don't know the first thing about who God is or the first thing about who and what you are.